I remember the first time I learned what it means to persevere. I hated going to my swimming lessons with a passion as a 6-year-old. I went every week despite the tears and temper tantrums, but at the end of my last class, my mom handed me a diploma she had made me that said she was very proud of me and that I had persevered. Grey's Anatomy is a show that excellently demonstrates what it means to persevere. Bad things happen, but you have to move past it, leave it behind, the sooner the better, or it'll eat away at you and stop you from moving forward. At Seattle Grace Hospital, the surgeons are put in difficult situations where they are constantly expected to make crucial decisions. The doctors need to keep moving forward with their jobs even after experiencing loss every day in their workplace. The way they continue to do their jobs despite the personal connections they build with their patients is all they can do if they want to continue to get better at their jobs. They do what they can in the time that they have, and then they move on to the next important thing. To be a surgeon, you need to have a competitive spirit, to push yourself to be the best you can be. I find to have a competitive spirit goes hand in hand with having a temper. I've always felt that if I didn't kick hard enough, if I missed a serve, if I didn't run fast enough, if I didn't jump high enough, or if I make any sort of mistake that I am not doing nearly as well as I should be, and it always sets off some frustration. As I've matured, I understand that to be your own worst enemy is not how I will succeed. I've taken from the characters in Grey's Anatomy that focusing on the now and learning from what you've done wrong is the best way to succeed in anything. Alex Karev says, "The point is, it doesn't matter what the rest of us think. At the end of the day, it matters what you think." Karev managed to be so successful in what he did because he didn't focus on what anyone else thought about his decisions. He was not one to care what the other doctors thought about what he thought was best for his patients, especially when he rescued Ava from the boat crash. When no one else had faith in her being alive, he still went to check despite other people's opinions. So, I think it is important when it comes to big personal decisions to listen to the opinions of those around you, but you can't let what they say make you completely change your decision. Especially now in my life is a pretty crucial time in terms of how I will decide which university I will go to. I have been influenced by so many people about where I applied in the first place. Now I will need to get ready to be influenced again about my final decision. I will need to remember that it is my life, my decision, and so it matters most what I think. Finally, Meredith says, "Life is not a spectator sport. Win, lose, or draw, the game is in progress whether we want it to be or not." Being a surgeon undoubtedly is a profession that changes lives, but they wouldn't be able to do that if they hadn't worked as hard as they did to get to where they wanted to be. Meredith does so many things that make her a great surgeon. She is brave, which is what let her be able to be the one to put her hand on the live ammunition that was inside a patient. She takes action to save lives, and that is what sets her apart from the other characters. For me, growing up, I always had scraped knees. I think about that now as a much older kid, and I want to follow the example of how I lived my life as a much younger kid. I was always running, full of energy, and fearless. I remember in grade 9 I was much more timid and I didn't want to join the sports teams at school. I played basketball and that was it. By grade 10 I realized I was definitely missing out on a lot of the other fun sports. So that's when I decided I just had to get through that first tryout and then I would get a feel for the environment and be comfortable. That's what I did and I don't regret it for a second. In grade 11 I decided to give lacrosse a try, and even though that first time is the scariest, putting myself out there was one of the best decisions I have ever made. I met a lot of new people and learned new skills that made me a better athlete. So, even though there will always be things in my life that will frighten or frustrate me, being brave enough to push through those obstacles is the best way for me to get to where I want to be.